Once again, the readings seem to point to the end times, the end of our time here on earth, the end of civilization. And there's a few reasons for that. First of all, we're coming to the end of the church year. As I mentioned, this is the 34th Sunday in the Tempus Per Annum, the time through the year. And so we celebrate Christ the King. That also, we are going to be beginning a new church year next week. So it's a wonderful time to look back on our life and see what we need to do to be the people God wants us to be. But the world often does not look at it that way. We seem to see death as the ultimate failure. And so we avoid it like the plague. We really do. We flee from it. We take the perspective of this world, which says, eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die. That there is nothing else after this, so make your mark now. And yet if we believe what we say we believe, then we are a people of hope. We know that there is much more yet to come. You know, we will attend these funerals that we celebrate, and sometimes people will say, you know, I'm crying because I'm so sad for that person that died. Well, if they were a good person in this life, don't be sad for them. They made it. They're there. Be sad for us. We're stuck here. We still got a little ways to go yet. But they reached their life's goal. Now, sure, we're sad for ourselves because they're gone and we feel the void in our life. But we cannot be sad for them. You see, I think sometimes we live life as a people who are not yet redeemed. A people who have not been saved. And if we're not saved, then we might as well be hopeless. That's a good way to act. But we have been saved. We've been given a second chance. And if we've been given a second chance, we really need to live our life as though we've been given that second chance. You know, a few weeks ago, I was up in the woods to get some peace and quiet. And I always stop by this diner, Sherman's Valley Diner, a great place to eat if you're ever up that way. And I stop in there, and I'm waiting for my food, and I'm listening to this 88-year-old man talk to the woman across from him. And he says to her, oh yeah, I had a 5 bypass just 2 weeks ago, and I'm having hardening of the arteries, and my lungs are failing, and my cholesterol's high. Now he's saying this as he's holding a burnt piece of bacon and a glazed donut. Is that someone who's been given a second chance? I mean, honest to goodness, he was dead, they brought him back, they give him a second chance, and he's doing the same thing he's always done. He's not living like he's been given a second chance. Well, what happens? If a doctor saves us, what do? Well, you're going to have to change your diet a little bit. And you're going to have to exercise a little bit more. And I'm going to give you these medications to take, and you have to reduce the stress in your life. If you don't do those things, you will die. We've done everything we can here. We saved your life. We made the necessary changes in your body. Now it's up to you. You must want to live. Now we laugh when we hear about the guy with the burnt bacon and the donut, but is that really so crazy? Because some of us live our lives that way. We are a redeemed people. We've been given a second chance. And we keep doing the same things we've always done. We're not changing our diet or exercising or taking medication. We're falling into the same metaphorical traps that we always have. And people will say, well, I try to get out of this rut. What are we trying? Because if we're trying to get out of it with the same solution we've always had, we're going to get the same results. But it's time to change. We have to make a change. So why aren't we doing it? What's taken so long? Because we believe that we are eternal. We believe that we are eternal. And what happens is, over time, as we start to age a little bit, we're reminded that we are mortals. So what do? Well, look at the cosmetics industry in the world. $1 billion business. Some people have cosmetized themselves so much that I believe that when they are in their coffin, they will not decompose. They have preserved themselves so well trying to recapture youth, trying to keep youth. We are fleeing from death so that we can think, oh, I always have another day, I have another day. So I'm going to get my spiritual life together one day when I have the time. On Saturday, I buried a 22-year-old who thought he had time. We never know when the Lord is going to take us. It's the condition of the world we live in. Things happen. There are times when we have the choice and we shorten our own lives, and the Lord didn't want that. But I would propose that the time is now. We do not have an eternity. And so we have to live every single day as though it were our last. And I don't mean, that you go skydiving or Rocky Mountain climbing or 2.7 seconds on a bull named Fu Manchu. What I mean is that here, we're ready to go. We get everything right here. We start making the changes now. In the gospel today, it's interesting that Jesus condemns these people not for what they did, but for what they didn't do. He condemns them for apathy. He condemns them for not making a change when they could have. And because of that, they're in eternal condemnation. But it's nothing he did to do that. They condemned themselves. They had the opportunity and they condemned themselves. We have to start living as a redeemed people. We celebrate Christ the King today, not because he dominated us, not because he made slaves of us, but because he saved us. When Jesus says, I came to serve and give my life as a ransom, the word ransom, apolutrosin, comes from the Greek word lutron, which means a debt paid for someone who is condemned to die. It's a ransom. In other words, this person is on the gallows, and I give money to get them free. They get a new chance at life. That's us. We are those who are the recipients of this great gift from a God of second chance. But are we still eating the burnt bacon and the glazed donut? Or are we ready to change? Now we could say, well, I'm not quite ready yet, but I have time. And you might be right, but you better be sure.